Welcome to DevOps Unlocked, a channel dedicated to helping you along your DevOps journey. In today's video, we are going to be using Ansible to install Apache, and using that same playbook, we'll also be deploying a website. So I want to get started here and start with the 3 dashes and dash name, and I'm just going to say download and install Apache. Next, set host to demo, and that's because our hosts are listed in the demo section of our inventory file. I'll set the gather facts to false, and I'll set become to true because I will need to be elevated as sudo in order to execute on these tasks. Next, the name of the first task will be download Apache. And we will call the yum module to make that happen. So for the name is httpd, that's the name of the Apache package. And I'm going to set the state to latest, and that will tell Ansible to download and install the latest version of Apache. Moving on, we'll need to start the service once it's downloaded. So let's just give this step a name, which is start Apache, and we will call the service module for this next task. We'll target the name again to be httpd, and we're going to set the state here to started. And that actually wraps up this playbook, so let's head over and begin to invoke it. Alright, so before we begin, I'm just going to show you here the inventory file. So under the demo section, as I mentioned, are the 2 hosts, and you can see these 2 hosts at the bottom of your screen, and I'm using tmux for those interested to make this happen. So I'll invoke Ansible playbook, the install Apache -i to call my inventory file, and then follow that with a dash lowercase and then dash capital K. I'll invoke my SSH password. And as you can see here, Ansible's now connecting to these hosts and running through the steps, which is, to download Apache and to then start it. And so you see those here and reflected on all 3 of the panels. If I invoke a psef grep for httpd, you can see here that Apache is running, and so I'm going to do that twice, and you can see Apache's active on both of our nodes. And then just to triple check, I'm going to copy one of the IPs here and open up my browser and try to access it, and yep, as you can see here, we have a test page, which is great. This is actually what we want. So now that we have Apache installed, let's modify this playbook to deploy the actual contents of our website, and then we'll manipulate it and just do some other things. Okay, so here's actually the website that we will be deploying, and I actually went ahead and downloaded these files ahead of this tutorial, and I placed them in a file called demo bootstrap. The location's important because we'll need to note that as part of our playbook. And the other thing I also want to note here before we begin is just the copy module, which is actually what we will be calling in order to copy these files, which are currently hosted local on my workstation, to the web servers. And so I just have that here up on my screen. There's a wealth of options. I will link this in the description below. However, please just note this for any playbook you may invoke. And I specifically want to call out the source parameter within the copy module. It can be very case sensitive and very specific with how it's called, whether it's a directory or like these other recursive options. And so please just be mindful of some of these parameters within the module. However, for our playbook, as part of this tutorial, this first example here is the closest one that we will actually be leveraging. And so with that, I think we are ready to begin. So the first step I want to do is to copy the install Apache and make the new file deploy Apache website, which is just a little more appropriate for what we are going to be doing. So I'll open this new file, and the third task I want to add is deploy the Bootstrap website. And so to do so, I will call the copy module, and I will do that using how the example is listed here on the left. And so that is the ansible.builtin.copy. You can also just put copy. I believe that's a little bit more legacy. However, for just to follow the example, that is what I'll be doing. The source is where the files will live, and so I place these in my home directory ahead of this tutorial. And so I'm just going to call the full path, which is home, Aaron, and demo_bootstrap. And I will use the / at the end, and that tells Ansible to copy all the files within this directory. The destination I will set to var www.html, and for the owner and the group I will list that as Apache, and then for the mode I will set these files to 0644. For the fourth task, I want to restart Apache, and I'm doing so that the Apache service is aware of the files we had just deployed. So the name here is restart Apache. I will call the service module similar to above, and the name of the service I want to target is HTTPD, and the state I will set to be restarted. Okay, so now we are ready to deploy this playbook. And so on this screen here, you can see that I have this web server already up and running, or these web servers up and running. So we can begin invoking the Ansible-playbook command. I'll call the new playbook, which is deploy Apache website, and our inventory file, which is demo.inv. Put in my SSH password. And so it's going to run through the 2 steps from earlier, which is download and install Apache. Those should be pretty quick, obviously, it's already in place. The step here, deploy the Bootstrap. So this is taking our website files, or our web files, from our local machine up to these web servers. And then this fourth and final task is restarting the Apache services. And so that should be completed right now. Yep, perfect. And yeah, this is exactly what we want to see here. And then we can actually just show you on this screen that these files are now in place on our web servers. And if I just refresh my screen, you can see that these files are now in place. And that will complete this tutorial. One thing I want to stress is that it's really easy to get a web server up and running with Ansible, so please reference the documentation provided below. And as always, smash the like and subscribe button. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. And then lastly, if you guys have any questions, please drop a comment or send me a message on Twitter. So once again, thank you, and I will see you next time.